What do you think? Can a person, like, literally escape from the drugs prescribed to you by a doctor? I'm sure your answer shocks me. Sit down more comfortably, dear, because this is scary. Almost why? Well, just reveal. United States of America, New York, the very beginning of the 20th century. You are a young Swiss lion from a respectable and wealthy family, living your best life. And sooner than anyone, you lose your own. At every party in town, you are always welcome. Men envy you, and women find you desirable, perhaps excessively at times. In short, when you're around, the world lights up. Wait, it sounds like a fairy tale, as if I'm describing an unreal person, a character from a romantic comedy of the early 2000s. But for Iben Bayer, all this was an ordinary life. All this beauty, respect, and remember how he looks in this photo. Everything I have already told and will tell further is about this guy. It would seem that such a person could not exist in life. Look, there's always something. In Bayer's case, it was a pull and a lick. Let me add a little context. Iben was born on April 12th, 1880 in Pittsburgh, and from birth he was literally bathed in luxury. His father, Alexander Byers, was the creator and owner of the Gerard Aaron Company, which brought millions of dollars to the family. This is still a lot of money, but at that time, considering inflation, it was just such a colossal amount of money. Iben's childhood, it seems, was carefree. And if there were any clouds, they were only the most expensive and the most beautiful. He studied, apparently, at one of the most elite schools in the United States of America, St. Paul's School in New Hampshire, after which he entered no less prestigious Yale College, where he quickly gained fame as an athlete. It was there that he took up golf. Upon completion of his studies, unlike most boys his age, Iben did not have to look for a job, and he immediately started working. Thanks to a large inheritance, he could just relax and not do anything at all. What did he successfully engage in? What time is it? Still, apart from endless evenings, there was another passion in young Bayer's life: golf, which he continued to play even after graduating from college. However, he was so bad at it, so bad that he started to build a sports career, and frankly, quite successfully so. In 1902 and 1903 at the U.S. Amateur Golf Championship, Iben Bayer took second place, and by 1906, he had won first place. And the man didn't give up, only forward. He immediately began preparing for new challenges, but not among amateurs, but among professional athletes. However, Bayer was unable to participate in these competitions. It simply did not work out. And it's not that he lacked talent or anything like that. In fact, he constantly trained and only increased his level of mastery. The problem was with the money. Of course, what else could it be? Alexander Byers died, leaving behind a successful company, the full management of which passed to his son. This made Iben not just the son of his wealthy father, whom he constantly had to ask for money, even for new golf clubs. This made him a person who chooses when, where, and how much to spend. His sports career ended that same day. But what does a young bachelor do with such a huge amount of money? However, 100 years ago, Iben Byers was unaware of the Turn Back Alive Fund, so he started buying up property all over the country, just one estate after another. Well, why not? At the same time, he continued to spend all his free time at parties. But now let's say they were parties of the highest category. At these parties, Bayer met the most influential people of his time: politicians, businessmen, and doctors. Among his new friends, for example, was the current head of Coca-Cola. So year after year passed, and everything was good. To be fair, Iben proved to be an unbeatable leader. Also, a business that he inherited from his father only went uphill. There were no health problems either. In short, it was not life, but death, which lasted until 1927. I don't know about you, but I always have this irrational fear of the police in the back of my mind. However, this fear was never strong enough to prevent me from sleeping on the top shelf, and yet the image of falling onto this table with boiled eggs and sandwiches was always present in my head. Anyone else have this? Comment below. What am I getting at? Well, the same thing happened with Bayer. Well, at least there were no sandwiches with eggs there. Who knows? Anyway, in the 27th year of the 20th century, 47-year-old Mr. Bayer decided to embark on one of his endless journeys, the ultimate attraction. Of course, the first class, which differed from the others, among other things, had sleeping places where you could lie down straight. If you're just listening and not watching this video, now is the time to look at the screen. This is what the wagon looks like, similar to the one in which Mr. Bayer traveled almost 100 years ago. Whether the train jolted or Mr. Bayer simply couldn't change his position during sleep is unknown. But what happened happened. He fell from his sleeping place onto the floor and severely injured his left arm and shoulder. Despite the severe pain, he dismissed it, thinking it would pass. Classic. The same man just shrugged off his shoulder, using this time to like, and went back to his sleeping place and peacefully fell asleep. The following morning, Bayer awoke to find that the pain had not subsided, but instead had worsened. Turning to his uncle, he, like any reasonable person, decided not to self-medicate, but to turn to a doctor. He looked at Bayer and reported that, fortunately, all the bones are intact and there are no serious injuries. There's nothing to worry about, just bruised his hand a bit and that's it. Remember this moment, because it's as important to me as it is to you. And yet, as the gentleman felt pain, the doctor prescribed him a new medication called Radiator. He was not cheap, but his patient, so to speak, was not poor. The doctor assured that this medication will not only relieve all of Iben's pain, but as a bonus, it will also improve his mood and stress resistance. Sounds not bad, doesn't it? Yes, Bayers immediately agreed, took the doctor's prescription, and headed to the nearest pharmacy to get the Radiator pill. See this bottle, right? Or am I talking to the wall again? Well, okay, you can't catch up with the disease tomorrow. All the photos will be in the Telegram channel. We find out about the disease from there. The link is in the description. By the way, I will also write there whether there will be another release on the channel for those who are really interested in this. Having arrived home, Iben immediately opened the package and took the first dose of the Radiator. As prescribed by the doctor, the dose was small, just 1 teaspoon per day. The man quickly felt the drug's effect as the pain faded into the background and vanished completely. Before he knew it, his mood had genuinely improved and he had more energy. Every subsequent day, Bayer continued to take the Radiator at the dose prescribed to him. And with each day, he felt only better. And when the time came to finish the treatment, he thought he still hadn't recovered enough. More than that, he thought the radiation dose was too small for him, so he started to slowly increase it. Eventually, instead of 1 regular spoonful a day, Mr. Bayer was taking 3. And not teaspoons, but tablespoons. As you probably guessed, he didn't die from the substance, but he did get sick. And he took it steadily every day for the next 3 years. So it went on until he simply couldn't stand it anymore. Literally, the guy couldn't stand it anymore. Well, his jaw didn't fall off for no reason. In the 1930s, the man stopped feeling the numbing effect of the drug and began to notice that he was losing weight and his teeth were falling out. Then he stopped taking radium, but it was already too late. His teeth continued to fall out, and the man lost almost all of his upper and lower jaw. Eventually, they were surgically removed, as they were practically not holding on to anything. Moreover, from the eyewitness accounts, holes were literally forming in Bayer's head. And all this was the result of uncontrolled radiation exposure. Who made that radiator anyway? This device is the brainchild of one of the Harvard College graduates, William Bailey. It essentially is distilled water mixed with radium. That's it, just thrice distilled. It even says so on the device itself. Can you believe it? In short, it's radiation in its purest form. Even though it's worth noting that nobody even tried to hide its presence in the device, it's even written here again on the label. Radioactive water. 3 for me, please. At the beginning of the 20th century, many people thought that radiation has a decidedly positive effect on the human body. In fact, the Radiator was not just bought at the market, but at that time it was a patented preparation in the United States of America, such that you could easily get it at the pharmacy, but only by prescription, which were prescribed by doctors left and right, literally from everything. And it's not strange. For every prescribed dose, they received 1/6 of the drug's cost from the company that produced Radium. In fact, this wonder elixir was initially positioned as a remedy for enhancing the glorious human strength. Oh, those were stormy times. In the end, our happiness was quickly delivered to the invincible radiator and his similar devices. Among them were people like Iben, who took more than 1,400 doses of radiator, becoming known in his lifetime as a man without a skeleton. Ultimately, the United States Federal Trade Commission conducted an investigation and all radium preparations were banned. But for Byers, it was already too late. He continued to disintegrate, literally falling apart. On March 31st, 1933, at the age of 52, the man died. Radiation poisoning was cited as the cause of death, although in reality, the man died of cancer. And yet he was exposed to a large dose of radiation, which he let through himself. Byers was caught in Pittsburgh in a pig tournament. In 1965, he was exhumed for further investigation. It turned out that even 35 years after his burial, his remains were still dangerously radioactive. Thank you for watching this video to the end, dear ones. You're the best. Stay healthy and happy. And now we'll be seeing each other a little more often, every week. Well, except for the next one, and so on. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and check out the Patreon too. Call me Sasha. Here's my Instagram page and my Instagram blog. And that's it. See you in the new video. I'm flying away. Thank you.